Hello and welcome, dear students. Today we are doing C2, Ad Hoc and Sudden Tasks. This is a part of the category C, which is all about timeline pressure. If this happens to be the first video you are watching of this Business English series, just to let you know, we have a total of 16 lessons from 4 different categories, 4 lessons per category. So today, because we're learning C2, the skill you will learn by the end of this class is how to explain disruption professionally without sounding like a complaint. Okay, let's get started. So I'm Teacher LuLu, 学生们你们好. And oftentimes in the beginning of the lesson, I will include 5-10 minutes of phonics. Phonics is the relationship between letters and sounds. It is different from international symbols because the international symbols are more complex and you need to understand the system instead of understanding just the simple natural way how different letters relate to each other. So today, for a little warm-up phonic, I happened to be doing QU with my students, so I will be doing it with you guys too. So the interesting thing about the letter Q is that it's not a standalone letter, and it might be the only one that's not a standalone. What I mean by that is you can't just have a word like kit or cat. Q needs you because you is Q's best friend. So Q and U are always together. Of course, there are some words that are adapted from other languages, such as qi, which is a Chinese 气, 一个人的气, 一口气. But that's not originally an English word, so that's why they have words like this that you can find in the updated dictionaries. But as far as organic, technically not every word is also organically English, because there's also French and Latin. But what I'm saying is that in the modern day English language, Q needs you. If it's not with a U, it probably is not a word. So let's go and look at some words that are QU words. So please repeat after me. And these are for the second part. Okay, so quality. Good. Question. Good. Quick. Good. Notice how in English your lips are exaggerated just a little bit more, like quick instead of quick, or question. Okay, good. Now we're going to talk about 3 words that are used often in business English. Repeat. Solution. Solution. Reliability. Reliability. And this is a little difficult. See how you will say this. If you said analysis, maybe you're thinking of the verb analyze, but because it's the noun, it changes. It's analysis. Analysis. The emphasis is in the center. Analysis. Good. Good. Choose one of these 3 words and make a sentence, please. Good. I don't know what you said because this is not a live lesson, but I believe you made a good sentence. Now I'm going to introduce to you the concept of today's class. So what happens when a new task suddenly appears during a project? So I ask the concept question to my students to get their mind to start thinking in today's lesson's language. So think about this question and please answer it when you are ready. If you said something along the lines of how you deal with a project, a recent project, something related to this question, I would say it's really good. I am now going to ask you a second question. What is ad hoc tasks? And it's most likely that the student understand tasks, they understand what is, but maybe some students don't know what ad hoc is. So ad hoc tasks are tasks that appear unexpectedly. You didn't expect this task to come today. You didn't expect your manager to tell you that, hey, you have a new thing due tomorrow. You didn't expect that. So an ad hoc task is a last minute, an unexpected, a sudden change. And I'll give you some examples of ad hoc tasks. Please read when you get a chance. Read the list of the 4. Go ahead. Good. And then I'm going to ask my student, what are some things you think an ad hoc task can cause? What are some problems that can be caused by ad hoc tasks? So here are some examples. Please read. Good. Excellent. Now we're going to get into some focus language. Focus language are sentences that are used often in particular to each lesson. So today's lesson, a sentence you will be using often is this one. Unplanned tasks impacted focus. You try. Good. Now, something I do often is I ask my students to define specific words. This is an effort for the student to better connect with their subject and better understand what they're saying. So I will ask them, explain to me what is unplanned. They might say not planned. I would say, okay, good. But can you explain without using the word plan in it? Then they might say, not scheduled. And I would say excellent. And then affected would be another way to say impacted. So that is the first focus language. Now, another focus language that can really be useful in this lesson is context switching slowed progress. By the way, notice how I say progress, not progress, not progress, progress. So context switching slowed progress. Now explain to me, what is context switching? If you said changing between tasks, moving between tasks, you are correct. Now explain to me when this would happen. Like, give me an example, for instance. Good. And sometimes working on too many tasks at the same time, let's say working on 3 tasks at the same time, can reduce efficiency. And that is the idea behind context switching. Good. Great. So now let's go to the next one. I will give you some examples, some very real lifelike examples. So I will give you the situation, and then I will ask you to explain the situation. How would you explain this delay? So please read this out loud. Good. Good. Now, please tell me, how would you explain this delay? How would you explain this delay to your manager? You can literally use sentence 1 or sentence 2. If you chose sentence 1, I think that's more of a match, a better answer. Good. Let's try number 2. So a manager asks for a certain data analysis request. How would you explain this impact professionally? Well, I think you can first establish. You can say, like several ad hoc requests appeared during this week. I may not have the capacity, our team may not have the bandwidth to take on this data analysis request. Okay, so you see what we're doing now is we are not being emotional, we are being professional, and we are describing the impact, not emotion. I will type this here. This is very important. Impact, not emotion. I think this is a useful line to keep in mind when you are answering questions, when you are in the realm of business English. You are answering for the impact, for the effect, the cause and the effect, not emotion. Then you should be doing pretty well. So, for example, instead of saying I'm overwhelmed, you can say there are too many interruptions. So when you say you're overwhelmed, you're describing your reaction to what's happening. But when you're saying there are too many interruptions, you are saying the facts. So one is emotions, which is not as concrete as facts. Okay, cool. Let's try a couple more scenarios, real life scenarios. A teammate asks many small questions while he is coding. Please respond professionally. How would you handle this? A teammate asks you so many questions. You know, we always have either a customer or a client, a colleague who just asks you so many questions. Yes, you can ask for higher salary. That's one possibility. But sticking to the class structure, you would say something like, frequent context switching is slowing down the process. And you can also say it's slowing down your progress. Because you see, when he is interrupting you, he's also interrupting himself, his own flow. So it's kind of a cool thing to keep that in mind. Sometimes to go in the angle, the direction of how it affects them negatively, because maybe that they will take on that a little bit better, even care about that a little bit more. Okay, let's try another scenario. An urgent production issue interrupts development. An urgent production issue interrupts development. How would you answer that? How would you respond to that? I think this one would be great. Unplanned task impacted development time. Excellent. Now let's do a little bit of a discussion, or we can call it a reflection. So we explained what context switching means, but can you tell me why context switching is inefficient? So this is where my student may answer in the form of details, and I will guide my student to answering more in the labels, which is the abstract thinking we mentioned earlier. So cognitive load, it affects the cognitive load. It's harder to concentrate. It's slower progress. So these are negatives. These are the inefficiencies of context switching. Okay, great. Now for a finale, for the final thing, I will ask something from earlier in the class just to wrap this up in a nice bow tie. Maybe I'll ask, please tell me what is an ad hoc task? And you see, that's something you didn't know 35 or 40 minutes ago, but now you do. I know this mock class is probably less than 15, but typically my classes are 50 minutes to 90 minutes. So it's usually 50 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes, depending on the students. Okay, so let's do another one. What is context switching? And then you explain something we learned earlier. And then if you want homework, I will give you the prompt to describe in a short manner an explanation to a manager's request. Keep it about the impact, not emotion. Excellent. And that wraps up today's lesson, C2 Ad Hoc Sudden Tasks. If you want to do the homework, you can leave it in the comments below or send me the WeChat message of your homework. The WeChat is down below too. I love connecting with my students, and I'm also looking forward to becoming your one-on-one teacher if that is a match for you. Okay, let's say goodbye for now, and I will see you again in the next class. Bye!